So it's important that you write your own resume. That make sense?
Okay.
Ready?
We're gonna do some things. First, I want to show you our website. There it is here. So, and there's our calendar. When we schedule events, they will be here. And please pay attention to this. If the next class shown is December 25th, it's just a placeholder because it doesn't work quite right, and we have a lot of people asking. Unless you really want to join us at the North Pole with the elves, because we're going to do it up there.
And I think most of you want the elves to maintain their current positions.
Yes.
Okay.
And at the bottom, there's all kinds of things here. Attendance comments in our classes. It's just repeated this thing. There's some just for fun things out there. There's some very, very funny things we think are associated with job searching things. There's resources out there. Some
Resources is
tricks
a
and
great
tips.
tab. Pull it up, just for grins.
Yeah.
This is a list of all the ones that we've documented. It's certainly by no means a comprehensive list of what's in Chicago, but if you just push the down arrow, they'll see that there's a whole bunch of jobs, of job support organizations. Chicagoland is number 2 in the nation for job support organizations for people looking for work. Number 2 in the nation. Number 1 in the nation, Kansas City. I don't get it.
I don't know. But there's the LDS that's on there.
Do they have Jello?
Who?
The LDS?
Do they have Jello?
I got it.
You're referencing a different group.
No. Right?
I got it. Anyway.
I thought it was Kool-Aid.
No, the LDS, they don't drink alcohol, they eat Jello.
Oh, I know they don't drink alcohol. They also don't drink coffee. It's got stimulants in it.
Right. But they eat a lot of Jello.
That I didn't know.
There you go.
I didn't get the reference.
So that's out there. So here's LinkedIn. I logged on to myself, my own account with LinkedIn. And what are your questions? Because we want to make sure we try and cover any specific questions you want. Yeah.
Okay, do you recommend people join at any of the premium levels? And if so,
Money!
which levels? Because there's a job search level, there's also a like LinkedIn Premium, and then there's also one for sales
There's
and
all
recruiting.
kinds of stuff.
But I've looked at them and they seem to overlap. I don't even know if any of them are worth it. What do you recommend?
We do a 3-hour presentation. In that 3-hour presentation, everything we show you is free. So if there's 3 hours worth of information for us to present, it's more information you're going to digest in 3 hours.
There you go. There are, as you said, several of them. There's a LinkedIn Premium, there's one for recruiters, there's one for job seekers, there's one for sales professionals, all at different kind of levels. So if you look at let's just look at the job seekers one, since that's kind of what we're here about. It will show you what you get for those things. So the freebie is limited to your profile, and you can typically get a lot of stuff, but here's the extra things you get over here. Again, we don't think that there's very many things that you can't do with the free version. So, and once you've got extra money to burn,
The opposite of that is we think there's an awful lot you can do for free. So if you want to pay the money, it's up to you.
yeah. So
Take a look at the pages and see.
there you go. So
Also, I use LinkedIn a lot for work.
okay.
I also,
What
by
do you
nature
do?
of my job, I work for the Japanese government, do economic development.
Okay.
So I'm often reaching out to companies. The flip side is I do a lot of networking professionally, and I get people requesting to join my LinkedIn network. And one of my big pet peeves, and I think you already talked about this a little bit, Larry, is the message.
Yeah.
I cannot stand, and I've actually seen some people now start to put LinkedIn, a message on their profile, please don't send me just the stock message. And
Yeah.
could you talk about that a little bit? Because, I never said one of those, but,
Yeah. So
the importance of that and what you
and
might
more
raise
basic than that is, who do you include in your network? Okay, that's the real basic understanding here. Facebook. Oh, I meet somebody and I'm friends and friends and friends and friends. And like thousands and thousands of friends,
Whether you know them or not.
whether you know them or not.
It's like you with your arm around, well, go ahead, bitch.
Yeah. So here is what we think, and Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, also thinks the same thing.
Recently in
An article about a year ago, I think. Number 1, people you know. Number 2, people you trust. Because believe me, there are people that you know that you don't trust, okay? People that you wouldn't mind helping if they asked you for help. And lastly, people that you wouldn't mind asking for help. Okay? Those are the 4 categories. They meet all those 4 categories. I have people that like, we meet or we've met and sat in a room like this and say, oh, come join my LinkedIn network. I don't know who they are. I don't know anything about them. And when it gets into the introduction piece, where we want a nice introduction to go out and say, hey, I can recommend Dave because I know him and he will do blah, blah, blah. If you don't know the person, how can they say that legitimately? And then in that case, if they can't say it legitimately, if they're trustworthy, you know, how can they pass that along? And it would be essentially lying. That would they feel comfortable passing that along if they didn't? So that's what it is. Yeah.
How does that work with the groups? If you're in the same
Groups are
group with
different.
someone, yeah, you're kind of connected, but does that affect it in any way?
Software connection. Okay. You can, if you're a member of the group, you can't send out a direct message to anyone in the group. You can see that
Which you
they
used
have-
to be able to do, but they
Used to
changed
be
it.
able to- They changed it. What you can do is if there's a discussion going on and somebody answers or participates in the discussion, then you can certainly reply privately to a person participating or creating a discussion. So
Or
that's
just reply and everybody sees it.
reply and everybody sees it. That's the other option. So
We
again,
talk intensively about groups in the
Yeah.
normal 3-hour
in the
sessions.
3 hours. So again, I think that's the key piece here is you got to consider who you really want to be connected to. Again, people you know, people you trust.
Bear in mind,
People
that
like
people
helping.
in sales roles, and you're in a sales role to some extent, because
Yeah.
you're constantly marketing your organization, you're trying to get people involved, you're trying to stimulate some process, you're gonna connect to far more people than I would connect. If I were a job seeker, which I've been too many times, thank you, but if I'm a job seeker, I'm gonna connect to people who can help me facilitate getting that job. I'm gonna connect to people I know so I can help them facilitate getting a job. That's the purpose as I see behind what we're showing you and the purpose behind what we do in our class.
I have 339 people who have sent me invitation requests that I had not accepted. I already have over 500, a little over 500. Most of those people are people that I've worked, the vast majority are people I've worked with in the past. I know their skills and stuff like that. They're, you know, my sons and relatives and other people that I know of and can vouch for them personally kind of thing. But those are the kind of people that are in my network. 309 now. I will probably accept that guy because I know him and he goes to my church and I will probably accept him. But the guy above and below that, I don't know who they are. They've just found my name somewhere and they reached out to me for some reason.
We do this class, when we do this class, invariably, we'll have people who attended the class and hearing us say, connect with people you know, people you trust, people you wouldn't mind helping, and people you wouldn't mind asking for help. Invariably, we'll have 3 or 4 people in the class who send us a connection request.
They will.
So don't
So don't.
request you guys.
Well, if you do, it'll either end up in limbo land, or we'll respond back, where have we worked together in the past? Good response. Where have we ever worked together in the past? I'm reserving my first level connections to people I've worked with. Tell me where we worked and when. Because I just don't remember you.
Personally, no.
Guess what? They don't reply most of the time. And those that do go, well, I just thought it'd be nice to connect with you. You've already told them the answer.
And again, I think it's really important to try and create that relationship because that's what this is all about. It's about relationships. LinkedIn is a tool to supplant your networking efforts. That's exactly what it is. It doesn't work on its own. It really helps you make your networking efforts better. Okay? What else? What other questions do we answer? Yeah.
What do you do with those endorsements?
Endorsements.
I endorse for things that I
Cringe.
feel that.
Show me your endorsements.
Endorsements.
Show me your endorsements.
Yeah, let's go to endorsements. Okay, endorsements are the poor man's recommendation. We really want to say you need recommendations because recommendations are specific. You can be they're really coming from people that you know.
They're anchored to a time. They're anchored to a person who said it. They're anchored to a specific set of events.
Right. There we go. Okay, endorsements. Here's endorsements. There they are there. So I have all kinds of endorsements here, all kinds of basically skills and expertise.
And they're in a hierarchical order of the number of
The number of
endorsements.
endorsements, boom, 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 boom. here's the people that endorse me for these things, whether they know I can do that job or role or not. Okay? So I kind of leave it out there, but you can actually edit these things. See the little edit button? Just click that guy, and number one, I don't have to display them at all. So I could take all those pictures off, all I gotta do is say, don't show them. And then they will not be shown, and then anybody look at my profile. Nobody will see them. So that's one thing you can do. The other pieces are, I can add or remove. If I don't want to include change management anymore in the category, I can click X and it goes away. So that's another thing I can do.
Can you bring it back?
What's that?
Can you bring it back?
You can add it back. You can add it back. And then it's empty. The other piece is I can actually manage.
Notice he said it's empty when you bring it back.
Yeah. You're adding the category again.
Because you're starting it over with a new category.
Okay. So here are all the people that have endorsed me for change management. All the 46 people. Okay? And where's my
This is cool.
right here. See this guy right here? That's the pastor of my church.
Right.
Okay?
Change
How
management
does
is
he know? How does he know that I do and participate in change management?
some of you who don't have anything to do with IT don't know what it is. It's the management of change. When you upgrade software on a machine or you change the network infrastructure, you need to make sure that that change gets documented so that it can be backed out if it had to, right? So that it doesn't conflict with other people doing other upgrades or changes. Does the pastor have any clue?
I probably not. So anyway, and if I don't want him on there, I click the X and all of a sudden it goes from 46 to 45. And he will not show up in that list anymore. Again, it means, I think the endorsement piece and these skills and expertise is really weird. I think I like the skills and expertise because it gives me a short, really keywords that are searchable when people do searches on these things. And I like that because it may be some word that I forgot or something like that. The endorsements get into, okay, well, people think different things. When I say change management, that means one thing. When somebody else thinks about change management, they may think something else.
I was at lunch with a librarian where I used to work, and one of my associates said, "Larry, we got to hurry up, we have change management meeting." And she said, "But I thought you liked your boss."
So,
The acronym used in an industry is not across-the-board acronyms.
and then a third person might have a third definition. So there's no clear definitions of what these things mean and how you might be doing them and how you've done them in your career. So that's why it's sort of like,
It just says he has change management, doesn't say he does it well.
yeah. However, if I had somebody write me a recommendation about how I do change management and how I participate in that, because they can put some meat on that and really describe it, that's much, much, much better. So that's what you want to drive for as a recommendation.
And if you look at a profile on LinkedIn, you can see the recommendations, you can see what people would say about the individual.
Yeah. And
So you guys are really focused on LinkedIn, so I went in just so you can see if I have a LinkedIn account.
Okay.
Found out I have like 3.
You have 3, okay.
One's personal email, one's from work email, because I get these messages, I'm like, whatever, so I'll just add.
You can prevent that.
Can I combine them in some way? Or
You
prevent
can't
that?
combine them.
You can't combine them, but you can prevent it from happening again.
Can I just put all the emails in one account?
What?
No.
Yeah,
Well, you
that's
can,
exactly-
but you can't take the connections you've made.
Oh, that's fine, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously.
Okay.
So what you need to do, if you can get into each one of them,
Can you log into each one?
as far as you know,
Yeah, as far as that.
delete the 2 that you don't want. And typically the 2 you don't want are the ones with the least connections.
Of course.
You'll leave the ones with the most connections. Then, multiple email addresses. Right under here, under your name, is a thing called privacy and settings. I think that's it. And there's tons of settings underneath.
And
this
we
stuff.
can't even go to it in 3-hour
This is-
presentation,
yeah,
so you know we can't go to it today.
Yeah, this is an hour plus. Come on. Well, let's speak.
My
slow.
internet's slow.
Yeah, well,
They-
What's that? Yeah. So, well, oh, there we go. Yeah, it wants to ask me for this.
Whenever you go to settings, it always prompts you for the password. There's a very important reason for that. Sometimes people log in at the library, they log in a public use situation, so it prompts you so that other people don't change your settings.
And EV, money, well,
Da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. All right,
Maybe.
maybe.
Any other quick questions while he's waiting for this to come up? We can maybe answer something else.
Well, it's not quick, the next one.
Quick
You guys
one,
are
I wanna
talking
answer.
about you would only connect with people you know, you trust, you
Yeah.
worked with in the past, and that you would recommend and you would ask for help. So how important then is the profile? If you're talking about people that you know and that know you, why do you need the detailed profile? Because a lot of people that I've connected with, they have like one job on there, and it's like, come on, dude, you've been working for 15 years now. So I guess my question is, what is a good profile that you would recommend?
Wall Street
That's-
Journal,
Yeah.
Wall Street Journal this year, I forgot what month, said that LinkedIn and products like LinkedIn will replace the paper resume in the next 5 years. This is your resume. We talk about this with people, we talk about how it should be top down. You build your resume with what you do and what you've done. You take that and you build your profile. You take that, the information that you have, and you build your handbill, which you use in networking. Okay, if you don't know what a handbill is, you'll learn. Or you should learn. And so everything matches all the way down the line. It's the same information. Synopsis maybe, but it's the same information. The stuff you put in here, depending on how you do it, could be your full resume, could be more than a resume, okay? But it's important that it all matches. If you've had 7 jobs, put in all 7 jobs. They say that in a resume, you shouldn't have more than 10 years. I don't think most of the people in this room have a problem with that, but you shouldn't have more than 10 years, shouldn't be more than 2 pages. Okay? There are exceptions, trust me, okay? But for the most part, you're there.
Yeah.
For the most part, you want it to have a legitimate answer of what it is you do. A legitimate picture of you. Because that's your resume of the future.
Yeah, there you go. So again, we got into this, again, privacy and settings. It's right under your name, it says primary email, change, add. And
Survey says,
those are the email addresses that I have associated with my single LinkedIn account. Okay?
if anybody sends anything to
Because
him
guess
within
what?
LinkedIn,
This is an email account that I use when I'm talking about job search things. So I put that in, and that's all I use that email address for. This is one of my personal email addresses. This is another personal email address. This is my current work email address. This is the what's that noise email address. This is my email address from church. It's another personal email address. This is two former email addresses from places I used to work. Okay? So, because, again, as Larry said, sometimes if you go look for somebody, it says, how do you know them? And LinkedIn says, well, what's their email address? Well, I knew Dave's email address when from church. LinkedIn then says, oh, okay, well, that's legit because I'm finding this email address in here, and that's the profile that it goes to.
it looks
So
in the
those were
list
sent.
before it sends it out.
Okay?
So
That's
if
what
you have it
does.
in your name, associated your name, it'll send it to you on your
Yeah.
primary.
So what you need to do, though, is you need to get in. You need to get in and add email addresses. So
They're
you
gone
type in
from
the new
previous
email address
jobs.
and add it, and it goes through the cycle of, it'll send the confirmation to the email address to make sure you entered it right, like many, many things do. You say, yes, I confirm this is it. When you confirm it, then it adds it to the list. So when you get your job, your next job, whatever that is, make sure that your work email address is added in to that confirmation thing, because I can't add it to a prior job if that email address is gone, I no longer have access to it anymore.
And never, 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 never have your work address as your primary address. You should have a personal address, because if you forgot your password, you fat-fingered it, you got locked out, they're gonna send you a new password or instructions to
Your
your
primary.
primary address.
Good work. So I think we're out of time, right? You're gonna chase us out, so we're kind of done. So thank you again for having me. It's been a pleasure. And again, watch the website. We'll have some classes. We occasionally do one down here at school where I work. So it's usually
Which is across the river and over a couple, oh, it's on this side of the river.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's the merchandise part. So,
When I'm looking up in LinkedIn, I'm looking up companies and I see people's names. Often they'll have their last name, but just their first initial of their last name. Is there any way to get their full last name?
Yes, there's 2 ways.
Okay.
be connected closer to them, because the further you are away, the less you see.
Okay,
The second way is to pay money,
right.
okay?
Third way.
There's a third way, and we don't talk about that in short time classes. We can tell you how to do that in a regular class. We often go through it.
Okay.
Okay, one more round of applause for Larry. So as many of you know, we do have a LinkedIn group, JETAA Chicago, and for JETAA USA. So if you're interested in joining that, please reach out and we can add you. And hopefully we can take what they talked about today and apply that to our group and to our LinkedIn profiles. Before we finish, we have wine and cheese in the other room, also some beer selections. So please make your way next door and practice these networking skills that we've learned about. So thank you for coming, and you can find us at